The clock on the wall ticked like a loud heart. Aaron Cole lay on a narrow bed inside the execution room. White sheets, bright lights, a cold tube taped to his arm. The glass window showed shadows, warden, chaplain, witnesses sitting in quiet rows. Behind another window was the person who would start the drugs. No one said the name. They just called him the technician. "Any last words?" the warden asked. Aaron nodded. His voice was steady. "Yes, sir. I want to read what's on that label." He turned his head, like a boy reading a cereal box. He spoke slow so every word was clear. Lot number H1148. Drug, midazolam. Expiration date last month. The room went still. The warden frowned. The technician looked at the tray. Aaron kept talking, his voice calm and careful, like he had spent months practicing. The court order says another drug. It names the exact kind and dose. The chain of custody log must match the order. If the label is wrong, the law says you must stop. The chaplain closed his eyes. The witnesses shifted in their seats. The warden lifted a hand toward the red phone on the wall. "Sir," Aaron said gently, "please check the log." The warden spoke through the intercom. "Hold." The tech froze. A guard hurried to the cabinet. Paper flipped, pen scratched. Someone whispered, "This isn't the set we signed out." The warden's mouth tightened. He reached for the red phone. Then the phone rang first. The sound cut the air like a blade. Hours earlier, the light in Aaron's cell was the soft gray of early morning. He had been on death row for 9 years. He counted time by the sound of carts and keys and the thin slice of sky above the wall. He learned faces. He learned silences. He learned the rules by heart, and then learned the rules that lived under the rules. How to speak without making anyone feel small. How to ask for help without sounding like a trick. How to wait. He wrote letters in a neat hand. He used simple words. He read thicker books than anyone expected. Law books. Old cases. Stories about people who found tiny doors in tall walls. He underlined, then copied the lines on small cards and taped them under his mattress. He did not study to become a lawyer. He studied to become calm. Officer Mason walked the tier most mornings. He brought the library cart and a smile that did not try too hard. "Anything new?" he asked. "Same sky," Aaron said. "Different words." He lifted a book about the rules of evidence. Mason did not roll his eyes. He only nodded like maybe this was normal. Sometimes Aaron got a letter from his daughter, Emily, who now lived with her aunt. She wrote about a dog that chewed shoes and a school fair with a dunk tank. She drew a square house with a round sun and a stick man waving from a window. The man had a big smile and no hands. Aaron kept that page flat and safe. Appeals came and went like trucks on a highway. He could hear, but never see. Lawyers changed. Dates moved. A new date came and did not move. The chaplain sat with Aaron and said, "You can choose a song." "I choose silence," Aaron said. "I need to hear the clock." The week of the prison grew tighter. Doors shut faster. Voices dropped. The warden briefed the team. "No mistakes," he said. "Follow protocol." Aaron's last meal was ordinary. He ate slowly. He thanked the cook. He washed his face and folded his blanket to the line, the way he always did. Officer Mason stood in the doorway longer than usual. "You good?" he asked. "I'm ready," Aaron said, and he meant in a way that felt like a deep exhale. They walked him through quiet halls to a small room where a nurse checked his veins. She was kind in the way people are when they wish a bigger kindness were allowed. The cart with the drugs waited by the door, sealed in plastic with crisp labels and a thick folder of forms. "Let's go," someone said. They rolled the cart into the narrow hallway outside the chamber. A trainee pushed. The floor had a ridge where tiles met. The cart's front wheel caught the edge. The tray jolted. A small vial slid, bounced once, and shattered. Clear liquid crawled across the tile like a slow star. "Get it!" a voice snapped. 2 officers lunged for paper towels. The nurse froze, eyes wide. The trainee went pale. "Backup kit," the technician said, tight and fast. A second case popped open. Inside were vials with different labels, new lot numbers, a different sequence, a drug the order did not name. Hands moved. Plastic cracked. Someone said, "It's fine. It's the same thing." Aaron watched from the doorway. Calm face, quiet eyes, as the labels turned in the light. And then the door to the chamber opened. "It's time," the warden said. They wheeled him in. Back in the present. The red phone kept ringing. The warden's hand hovered over it. The witnesses leaned forward. The chaplain whispered a prayer that was mostly breath. Aaron lay still, watching the warden, waiting to see who would answer first, the law in his memory or the voice on that phone. The red phone rang again, louder like it had a heartbeat. The warden lifted it with a stiff hand. "Yes, Governor." The room held its breath. Aaron stared at the ceiling lights and counted them. 1, 2, 3, while the warden listened. The warden's jaw worked, then stilled. He set the phone back in its cradle. "Stop," he said. The technician froze. The chaplain let out a sound that was almost a sigh. A guard untapped a tube from Aaron's arm with careful fingers, like he was peeling a sticker from a book he didn't own. The witnesses whispered. Someone said, "What happens now?" "Temporary stay," the warden told the glass. "We review the drugs and the logs." They rolled Aaron out of the bright room and into the quiet hall. The wheels hummed against the tiles. Officer Mason walked beside the gurney, eyes forward, voice low. "You okay?" "I'm breathing," Aaron said. "That's enough for now." They parked him in a small room with a metal chair. A nurse checked a small red mark on his arm where tape had been. The warden came in with a folder, so thick it looked like a doorstop. "Mr. Cole," he said, not unkindly, "you noticed an error. You did it calmly. For that, I thank you. For the rest, the court will decide." Aaron nodded. He did not smile. He did not gloat. He just asked for paper and a pen. The warden hesitated, then handed him a dull pencil and a single sheet. Aaron wrote in small, neat letters, "Request for counsel, urge a review of chain of custody and drug protocol." He signed his name. He handed the note to Officer Mason. "Please fax this to my lawyer." Mason gave the tiniest nod, the kind you give when a wall has ears. Hours slid by like slow rain. The stay did not mean freedom. It meant waiting in a different way. Back in his cell, Aaron lay on his bunk and breathed like he had practiced. In for 4, out for 6. Counting the beat of the clock, he could not see. He told himself simple truths in simple words. I was calm. I saw the label. The law is a ladder. Keep climbing. The chaplain stopped by with water. "You were brave," he said. "I was prepared," Aaron answered. Brave is for fire. Prepared is for paper. He thought of the months that led to this moment. He remembered opening a law book and tracing a line with his finger about substantial compliance and deviation from protocol. He remembered copying case names onto cards and whispering them until they stuck. He remembered seeing the med card on a hallway once and noticing a small thing, the way backup kits had different color caps, and wondering if anyone else had noticed too. He remembered writing to his lawyer, Claire Benson, about chain of custody like it was a story problem in math. If a vial starts here and hands change there, who holds the truth when the clock hits 0? The intercom clicked. "Cole," a voice said, "Legal call." He picked up the black phone on the wall. Claire's voice was quick and clear. "You did it, Aaron. The governor's office called after Mason faxed your note. We've filed an emergency motion. The judge wants documents by morning. Listen, don't sign anything without me. If anyone says new date, you say you need discovery." "Got it. Got it," Aaron said. "Also," she added, soft and now, "Emily is proud of you. She told me to tell you. She wore her blue shoes today because they're your favorite." For a moment, Aaron couldn't speak. He pressed his forehead to the cool wall. "Tell her I counted clouds," he said. "Tell her they looked like boats." Night came. The hall grew quiet again, the way prisons do when everyone is awake but pretending not to be. Aaron lay on his back and stared at the vent, the same square he had stared at for 9 years. He thought about how a person could be two things at once, a number and a name, a patient and a target, a man ready to die and a man not ready to be done. Near midnight, keys rattled. Boots stopped at his door. The slot opened. "Cuff up," a voice said. Aaron sat up slowly. "Why?" The warden himself stood outside, face gray with tiredness. "State Supreme Court reversed the stay," he said. "Appeal from the Attorney General. They want us to proceed before dawn." The words hit like cold water. Aaron felt his chest rise and fall, and kept it steady. "The drugs?" he asked. "The logs?" "New kit," the warden said. "Fresh chain of custody. Everything in order." Officer Mason's eyes found Aaron's through the slit. The looks at what the mouth could not. This is happening. Right now. They cuffed him gently, like being careful made a kinder. As they let him out, the hallway lights flickered once, twice, like tired stars. They turned the last corner, and Aaron stopped dead. On a rolling cart ahead, under the bright light, sat the new kit, sealed, labeled, perfect, and beside it, a clipboard with a protocol page on top. A single line on that page had been crossed out and rewritten by hand. The technician lifted a pen to sign it. Aaron's eyes locked on that single crossed-out line. It wasn't much, one short phrase, written over in darker ink, but to him, it screamed louder than the sirens that sometimes wailed through the compound. He took a slow breath, forcing his voice to stay calm. "Warden," he said quietly, "that change on the form, who authorized it?" The warden looked up, a crease deepening between his brows. "It's just a correction," he said. "Wrong concentration." The technician fixed it. Aaron shook his head. "Then it needs 2 signatures, one from the supervising officer and one from the supplier. That's Protocol 9B. You know that, sir." Everyone froze. Even the guard holding Aaron's arm seemed unsure. The technician blinked, glancing down at the clipboard. His hand hovered over the pen like he'd just realized he was holding a live wire. Aaron's voice was quiet but firm. "If you start that injection, you'll be committing an illegal act. It's documented, and this time, he tilted his head toward the small black camera dome in the corner. It's recorded." The warden's jaw clenched. He turned toward the camera, then back to the clipboard. A muscle jumped in his cheek. "Step back," he said to the technician. "I need to see this." He took the form, scanning it line by line. Aaron watched the man's hands. They trembled slightly, just enough for the paper to flutter. After a moment, the warden exhaled, long and slow. "Who wrote this change?" No one answered. The silence stretched until the fluorescent lights above them buzzed like angry bees. The technician swallowed. "Sir," it came from administration. "The call came down about an hour ago. They said the court had reapproved the use of midazolam from the backup batch." Aaron spoke softly. "The same batch that expired last month." The technician's eyes flicked up. The warden's face went still. Aaron's heart was hammering, but he kept his voice steady. "Call the Attorney General's office. Now, or you'll have a bigger problem than me. Because this time, it won't just be an appeal. It'll be a federal investigation." The warden stared at him for a long time. The red phone sat on the wall again, as if waiting. He turned to the guard. "Uncuff him. Take him back to holding." "Sir?" the guard said, startled. "Now!" the warden barked. "That's an order." They led Aaron away, back through the maze of halls. The air smelled like bleach and fear. No one spoke. When they reached the holding room, Mason was already there, leaning against the door frame. His face was pale. "They really were going to do it again, weren't they?" he whispered. Aaron sat down slowly on the narrow bench. "Yes," he said, "and they would have gotten away with it, too, if I hadn't looked." Mason handed him a bottle of water. "You're lucky you did." Aaron shook his head. Luck had nothing to do with it. He looked up at the ceiling vent, hearing the faint hum of the building. It's all rules and timing. They build the walls tall, but the cracks are still human. For hours, no one came. The prison was quiet, as if the entire place was holding its breath. Then, close to sunrise, a guard hurried in. "The governor's office called again," he said. "There's a full investigation starting today. You're not going anywhere." Mason frowned. "Not going anywhere as in staying alive?" The guard nodded. "For now." Aaron leaned back against the wall. His body shook. Not from fear, but from the sudden crash of everything catching up to him. He had been seconds away from death twice in one night, and twice he had stopped it. By morning, reporters were gathered outside the prison fence. Words like mishandled, illegal, and botched execution flashed across news tickers. Lawyers showed up with folders. Cameras followed every official walking into the gate. Inside his cell, Aaron sat quietly, reading a small Bible someone had left on his bunk. On the inside cover, he wrote one sentence in pencil: "The law saved me before mercy did." Days passed. The investigation grew. A federal judge ordered a suspension of all executions in the state until procedures were reviewed. Aaron's name appeared in headlines: the death row inmate who outsmarted his executioner. Reporters sent letters asking for interviews. His lawyer told him, "You become a symbol, Aaron, a man who found a loophole no one else saw." Aaron didn't answer right away. He just traced the edge of the paper with his finger. "I didn't find a loophole," he said softly. "I found the truth they forgot to look at." That night, the lights flickered once, then steadied. He lay on his bed, staring at the vent again. Somewhere deep in the prison, a door clanged shut. For the first time in years, Aaron closed his eyes and didn't count the seconds. He didn't have to. The clock could keep ticking all it wanted. He had already taken its power away.